Okay. So these are just our normal slides that we have up anyway, just in case you forget what our names are or anything. Um, but yeah, quickly going through the agenda. So we're quickly going to go over the results from the ENSA boycott policy that we discussed at the last meeting. Review of the policy process in the Moodle site just to make sure everyone's okay with kind of how all that works. A quick update from us as your full-time officers. Then we've got working groups to talk about, also a new policy submission, and then we'll just move on to any other business. So I believe Matthew is going to talk about this. So I will let him take the lead on that.
Thank you very much for that, Emily. Yes, so on the 16th of November, we held our first meeting where we, the full-time officers, submitted a joint policy, which is the ENSA boycott policy. So far, so good. We had 13 votes in favor of the policy, which passes the required threshold of 12 votes. Although we had an amendment submitted by Eloisa, which was, majority were in favor, but it was not able to be passed because it didn't get to the required threshold. Can you please move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. All right. In a bid for us to, do better and to improve, how we submit these policies and engage with members of this group, would appreciate, a feedback and review on the current process, around how easy do you find the MOODLE site? Was it easy for you to use when you were, probably casting your votes and going through the policies? And how confusing was it? Difficult with for you? So I know we have limited amount of numbers of people here, but I would appreciate your input, in understanding how you feel that was used to pass this policy. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I think you might be having a few connection problems there, Matthew. So Hazel, Christina, did you have any thoughts on what Matthew was saying? Sorry.
Can everyone hear me, please?
I can hear you.
Oh, was I frozen? Because I couldn't see anyone again. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. I mean, I could mention names to talk about them. I mean, I just want to just know, probably know, we want to hear from you, what your experience was like. Christina, yeah, I honestly don't remember because it has been a while ago, but I don't remember any difficulties. Thank you very much for that, Christina. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. And can I call on Hazel? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues voting, but I remember I had an amendment, but I think it was, obviously it's a while ago now, I've had so many assignments since, so can't quite remember. But I do remember that I think there's quite a lot that was necessary for me to write down.
Okay.
It was quite time consuming without, I don't know, personal experience. I didn't submit because of it.
Okay. 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 All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. But I mean, peradventure, I mean, if you maybe remember anything you think you want to share with us, okay, we always available to, want to make improvements on the platforms, that we use. And for the purpose of the recording, for our members who are not here, we'll be watching this, at a later time, later day. It would be great if you can, get in touch with us to be able to, share your ideas with us, how we can make it maybe simpler or user-friendly to you. Whatever feedback, that you have would be appreciated. I can see one more comment. The only thing that is I cannot access it and cannot find the Enter platform. Okay. Paul, sorry. There's a comment from Christina who says that she, The only challenge is that she cannot access it and cannot find it on the MOODLE profile. Is there any reason for that?
I don't have a student profile on it, so it might be different, but I think at the top of the page, so there are 3 different instances of Moodle. I think there's the one that students use, the student Moodle, and then there's one called Moodle Community, and that's where our Moodle site is hosted. And then there's a staff training one as well, which I don't think students have access to. So when I go to like home or dashboard, I've got a list of courses down the side and the student experience action groups in there. Along the top of that page, I've also got options where I can choose which server I want to be on.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if that's the same for the students, so we can look into that. And we can also maybe create a redirect on our website so that when people click on that, it takes them straight into the Moodle so that they can always find it from our website.
Great.
So we can definitely try and solve those problems, and we'll send out an email to the members to say here's an easier way, because if you can't find it without the link, that makes it quite difficult.
Sure.
We'll find a better way to do that.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Paul. I think I was expecting it to be a course model. Okay, so Christina just confirmed that she has found it now. Yeah, so which is a good thing. Yeah. Thank you so much for confirming that. Yeah. So just moving forward, the next slide, please. Thank you, Emily. So accountability for our full-time officers. The reason why the 3 of us are here is basically to work for the students, and is to improve the student experience and to listen to what the students are saying, so that we can be able to take that forward with the university or relevant department within the university that can probably solve those maybe issues or challenges. So which means that we listen to you full time, and we're working in the best of the student's interest and doing what you want us to do. So please do not hesitate to get in touch with us at any point in time. If peradventure you've had maybe some conversations with your colleagues around probably what should be done in the university, maybe like an idea, probably they cannot maybe come out directly to us. You can also probably speak on their behalf too. Okay, so please do not hesitate to hold us accountable for what we discuss here and what you ask us to do, because that is why we are here full time for you. So this is the opportunity for you to be able to ask us any question about the kind of work we do for you guys. I know because we have limited numbers of people, but if you can probably share anything, that would be great. Do I have any comment from Christina or Azel?
It might be easier to go through your points that you've been working on, and then if Christina and Hazel want to comment on those things.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much for that, Paul. Next slide, please. Thank you very much, Emily. So far, so good. Collectively, we've been able to organize the Christmas Santa hunt, which with 24 Santas. So what we did was we had to hide some Santas in the 3 campuses, and we also had some online. It was quite very interesting because we had loads of engagement from students, and quite a number of them, were able to win amazing prizes. So we've been working with the university to ensure new students starting in January can obtain appropriate housing. There is a housing crisis currently in the UK, and as you can see on our platform also, we're also advocating for NUS in order to be able to solve that problem. So we are really keen into consistent conversation with the university to ensure that there is a good and effective housing plan for new students coming in January. So we've also been on campus once a week. So in every week, there is always an officer on campus in the three campuses. And the reason for that is just to show our presence more on campus. I mean, we don't want to be behind the computers every time. We want to engage with students. And so far so good. It's been very, very productive because we've been able to have good rapport with the students, and they've been able to share some of their concerns with us that we are also able to take forward. And also we've organized program of we're currently organizing program of event for Welcome Back Week and students safety and life campaign coming in January. So that is currently ongoing. Eloisa has spoke at the University Faith and Climate Crisis event, and she continued to develop the Green Space project, on curricular academy. She's leading that project with ENSA, and myself, I've been able to recruit students to be part of high-level university committees, ensuring student voices are heard by senior staff. Because one of the most interesting things about the Edinburgh Napier University, the fact that the staffs, the lecturers, the tutors, the dean wants to actually hear from the students regarding to their experiences, and that's why it's very important to us at ENSA to ensure that we have student representatives in those committees. Okay, and Emily has developed and recruited sport ambassador roles, which is to increase inclusivity and to improve representation in sport here, which is a very, very, she's very, very keen into diversity and inclusiveness, within sports. So I'm going to hand over back to Emily now, if that's okay.
Yeah, so I think with this slide, I don't mind whether you want to go first or second, Louisa.
I'm happy to go first.
Okay.
Yeah, since
Right,
I'm
let
first on the
Eloisa
slide.
talk about the student housing working group, and then I'll say a wee bit about the GamCare advisory group as well.
Perfect, thank you, Emily. So it was supposed to be John, so another student from the ENSA 50 was going to talk about this, but he's not available tonight in the end, so I'll just speak on his behalf. But you should have received an email from me a couple of weeks ago saying that John is keen to start a working group as part of the ENSA 50 around housing, because you might know that there's currently a housing crisis in Edinburgh, and hopefully this is something that you're interested in maybe trying to find a solution to. Obviously it's a very big problem, but there is something that as a student movement we can do to help. And John is part of Living Rent. So Living Rent is a tenants union, which is based in the UK. There's an Edinburgh branch to that union. And some of the ideas of the working group is to work together with Living Rent, so with the tenants union, to try and win over campaigns and make the city better for students and for just people in general who are trying to find a flat, because the city's become unaffordable. There's a lack of flats as well, a lack of safe flats, of affordable flats. This is an issue that's impacting most students, and it is starting to get worse and worse. So there is this working group, and John has also submitted a policy on the ENSA website today. So he has only just submitted it as a on just a general post on the discussion forum. So we're going to move that to make it an actual policy so you can vote on it. But you can still have a read at it now. And the idea around that policy is just to create a working group, and through that working group to work towards making a web page on the ENSA website where students can access a template email to email their local members of parliament and councillors to demand better student housing rights. Also, this policy just states that ENSA will be working with other organisations to further tenants' rights. So, for example, the Living Rent Tenants Union, and just to form a working group with that union as well, and to work together with other student associations and the National Union of Students in Scotland, who are also fighting to get more rights for students regarding housing. So those are some of the ideas around the policy and the working group. Again, John isn't here to talk about this right now, but I will pop his email in the chat. If you're interested in joining the working group, do send him an email. and he'll be really happy to have you in that group. So I've just posted it there. And we'll be just uploading that policy on the website soon as well. But yeah, it would be great to have as many of you as possible engaged on this topic, because we know it's something that is affecting almost everyone. So it would be good to get this off the ground. But yeah, I'll just pass over to Emily again.
Thank you very much, Eloisa. So secondly on the slide, we've got GAM Care Advisory Group. So in the email that got sent out from myself the other day, there was a brief that was on that as well that kind of outlines a little bit more about what the advisory group is doing. So GAM Care are a charity that help it's not just students, it's for everyone, for gambling prevention and just kind of like making sure people have the right support and things like that if they've got some problems with gambling and it gets a bit out of hand. They're now looking to get more involved with students because of all the kind of risks around it, especially when you are a student, you can get yourself into quite a bit of trouble. So basically it's not like a policy to vote on or anything, it's just to kind of put it out to you that they're looking for a focus group to understand what students need for that sort of thing. It can be anyone who's part of that focus group. It's just a sort of discussion to see like what the student needs are. So if anyone is interested in that, then that would be really good if we could get some people together for them to do a focus group. There will be like a kind of, not a payment, but they will have something to give you for doing the advisory group as well. I mean, it actually might be a payment. I can't quite remember off the top of my head what they'd said. But there will be something like in return for your time. So if you want to have a look over the brief and ask any questions about that. So yeah, I'll just move on from that just now, but it's just to kind of get the feelers out for that. So where's the little thing? There it is. Okay, so next on the agenda is a policy proposal that I have put in for increasing our sports facilities. So we currently have facilities out at Engage, which are all indoor facilities, and they are very good facilities, but we don't have any outdoor facilities that are adequate for our clubs to be able to train and complete their fixtures with. So we have to source externally for around 20 of the 25 clubs for either training spaces or places for them to carry out their fixtures. So the proposal is live on Moodle for you to vote. I do understand that this probably won't affect everyone, as it does only kind of affect students who are interested in taking part in one of our sports clubs. But yeah, so the discussion board is open on Moodle for you to ask any questions, anything like that, and you can vote on it as well. Same process as previously. Okay, so I believe I'm passing on to Eloisa now.
Oh, sorry, just before we move on there, I think it's maybe worth mentioning the importance of casting a vote. Even if the policy doesn't apply to you directly, we want to hear people's opinion of it. So whether you're involved in sport or not, it's good to hear your opinion. And if you do feel that because you have no interest in any kind of sport, whether that's club sport or recreational sport, you know, just taking part in a few sessions every now and again, I think it's important to say that you can abstain in a vote. And that means you say, I don't really mind one way or another, it doesn't affect me. But what that does do is allows us to cross that threshold for the minimum number of voters. So it doesn't matter whether you vote for it, against it, or you abstain. if you cast any vote, that takes us up to that threshold, and that means that we can move policies forward. So it is important, even if you think, well, it doesn't really bother me, I don't have an opinion, then please do use that abstain to make sure that we get the minimum number that we require.
I just saw a wee comment coming from D there as well on the kind of recreational sports side of stuff as well. If we manage to get like this policy through and discussions with the university, and we manage to get more facilities, it would mean as well that our clubs wouldn't have to spend as much money, and it could, like, hopefully then that would kind of lead to us being able to kind of lower the prices for our clubs, so it becomes like easier for more students to take part as well. It won't be such a massive expense. So if you're thinking that you would quite like to join a club, but it's a bit too expensive, or it's too expensive to join like more than one club, then please do vote on the policy as well, because that's kind of the end goal for this to make sport better for all of our students, really. But yes, I will pass on to Eloisa now.
Perfect, thank you, Emily. So we've been talking about policies, and as you've seen on the Moodle that we've got this specific form that you can use, which is quite easy to use, where you can submit policies. But we do know that sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, and you're like, oh, I've got other things to do, can't be bothered to fill in this form right now with my policy. So that's why I just thought it would be good right now to maybe get an idea of what policies, what ideas, things you would like to see, so that we can maybe just write them for you. Because at the last ENSA 50 meeting we had, there were so many good ideas around the table. But then I think everyone got busy, exams came, and no one really submitted any policies. So it would just be really good to hear from you right now to get a sense of what you would like to see put into a policy and shaped into that. And if you can just tell us right now, and then we can help you write it, or write it for you if you give us a bit of an overview of what you'd like to see. So yeah, I think there's not that many of us here, so I will just go round and ask each person if you've got anything specific that you'd like to be put into a policy. If you don't, that's fine. But yeah, I think I'll start with Hazel, because you're the first on my screen. Is there anything that you'd think would be a good policy that you'd like to see?
You mentioned about the space being used.
Sorry, I can't really hear you. I don't know if maybe you're far away from your mic or something.
Can you hear me? Or?
I can just about hear you. It feels a little bit muffled, I think.
Is that better?
Maybe a little bit better, yeah.
You were mentioning about the new facilities being used for recreational sports as well. I think it would be beneficial if you're saying that would be a benefit, that things could be put in place to actually encourage use by people who aren't usually active with sport, because when you think about societies and stuff, a lot of people are reluctant to join societies if they're not already involved in the sport, because they'll be surrounded by people who are much better at the sport. It's quite difficult to get into it when you're surrounded by people who are already very good. Just something that, because if you're telling students that this would be good because people could use it, and then that's not really being facilitated, I just think that would be a nice thing to add.
Okay, sounds good. So what you're saying is that basically you're endorsing Emily's policy and think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, as long as it is actually being used by all students and not just the club members, because
Yeah.
I think that makes up a really small percentage of the total students.
Yep, sounds good. I'll note that.
I think that could possibly be a policy in itself, sort of saying ENSA should promote recreational sport and promote it outside of the traditional club structures, and offer almost particular sessions for people who haven't previously engaged in sports. I don't want to call them like beginner sessions, because that might put people off, but something around that of, you can come along to this even if you just enjoy playing football, but you're no good at it almost. And I think we could maybe try and draw something up about that. We do have plans to try and do more recreational sport, and I think a policy around that could be quite helpful from the student perspective. So we can take that on board and maybe put something together, and we would come back to you and say, is this the kind of thing that you were talking about? Are you happy with that to go in, so that we are working with you and not just stealing your ideas?
Oh, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thanks, Hazel. So yeah, I'll just move on to Christina. Have you got any policies do you think would be interesting? Okay, just seeing in the chat. I don't have anything just now, but if I think of something, I'll email you guys. Okay, thanks, Christina. That's cool.
And I think that's a good thing to say, maybe for the recording as well, that if people don't have time or can't be bothered filling in that form, they can send something very brief over and we can try and develop it, and we'll come back to that person and say, are you happy?
Exactly. So, for example, what John did to write this policy that he just put up on the website, he did email me first, and then I helped him maybe write it in a certain way that we thought together would be maybe a bit better and sort of like condense it, etc. So, you know, even if you're not too sure about the wording, that's something you can just send it to us first.
Yeah, even if you have an idea and you just want to chat through it for 5 minutes, we can take notes and then we can put arms and legs on it, email it back to you, and give you something that hopefully you can kind of approve, and we can take it forward for you. But it's just getting those ideas out there, and we'll do the recording, we'll do the legwork for you.
Right, thanks, Alistair. And who else is here? Oh, I see Shalu is here as well now. Hi, Shalu. Have you got any policy ideas that you think would be good?
So not at the moment, but yeah, I can definitely have a think about it.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. I think we can move on now. Okay, that's more or less us done. I guess just a little Q&A. If you've got any questions for us, anything else that you'd like to discuss right now, just let us know. Again, you can always email us after this as well.
I'll move on to the last slide there as well.
Yeah.
So we do have our next meeting will be on the 27th. It's penciled in for, and I am probably assuming that it's going to be online again, just depending on kind of the situation around COVID. But yeah, if anyone has any questions or worries around that as well, it will, even if we end up doing a meeting in person, there'll always be a hybrid option there as well, so that you don't need to feel like you have to be in person when you don't feel comfortable with that. So yeah, I think that is everything from us. I'm not sure if anyone else has anything else to add, or any questions either. But I'll stop sharing my screen now. There we go. Does anyone else have anything that I think we've missed, or do you think that's kind of everything?
Okay, if that's everything, I will stop the recording, and if people have anything they want off the record or want to chat afterwards, they're more than welcome to. So with that, unless there's any last minute questions, I'll give it a second. Okay, I'll stop the recording.